What's up, guys? Welcome to Grubbs BBQ. My name is Jared, and today we are smoking beef ribs for the very first time. All right, y'all, so I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning to wake up and start cooking these beef ribs, and I am super excited to be smoking beef ribs for the first time today. I've never smoked beef ribs. I don't think I've ever even eaten them. If I have, I can't remember it, and it might not have been that special. But I have seen plenty of pictures and videos about beef ribs, and I've seen other people eat them, and it just looks so good. And so the reason I'm making them today is twofold. The first primary reason is actually for a competition that I'm doing with my church. We're having a barbecue smoke competition at a picnic later, so I'm entering in that and we'll see how we do. But I'm also making another one just for this video. So I've consulted around to try and figure out the best way to make these beef ribs, and from what I've learned online and from what I've read and stuff, I'm gonna start out by putting a slather onto the beef ribs, and it's gonna consist of mustard and Texas Pete hot sauce. And so I mix those up, and the pastiness of the mustard and the more liquidness of the hot sauce combined together creates a nice consistency for that slather. I'm gonna slather up the beef ribs and then coat it in my new favorite rub, which is 2 parts black pepper, 1 part kosher salt, and 1 part Lowry's seasoning salt. I don't typically use slathers on briskets just because I don't think it's really necessary, but I wanna experiment. I wanna try out on the beef ribs and see if it's gonna make a difference at all. I know the main purpose is that it'll hold the rub onto the meat better. Not really sure if much flavor is gonna be coming through with the mustard and the Texas Pete, but we'll see. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of things going. But yeah, I'm gonna get these slathered up, and then we'll get the rub on, and then hopefully get it on the smoker as fast as we can because the clock is ticking. So I got these at Costco, and it comes in a pack of 2, which is why I got to do one for the competition and one for this video. Don't like how those are connected. What's nice about these beef ribs is that I don't have to do any trimming. So let's get the slather on. Ooh. I'm also doing the rub a bit differently this time, the way that I'm putting it on there. I just thought maybe I'll just do it this way and not use like a shaker bottle or anything. You can put a heavy coating. Sometimes the shaker bottle just gets kind of annoying. And I always forget this. I should have started with the meat side down first for presentation. So I just dumped all that off. Now let's get a little bit more. And that, my friends, is a seasoned beef rib. All right, y'all, so the pit is cooking at around 294 degrees right now, which is a little bit hotter than what I want it to be right now. I'm gonna bring it down to 250, put the ribs on, and then I'm gonna cook around 250 for the first 4 hours or so, and then slowly bring up the temperature to about 275, and then towards the end of the cook, I'm gonna be cooking it right at 300, maybe a little bit higher. We'll just see how it goes. But I'm gonna be wanting to collect a lot of good smoke, a lot of good bark at the beginning. And then once we get that amazing bark collected, then we'll start to try and get these things tender. So I'm gonna put the first one on, and then I'll put the second one on just a little bit after, because I don't need that one to be ready until a little bit later. So another reason why I'm excited about this cook is because it's relative simplicity. So you already saw that I didn't have to trim anything, and I know with briskets, trimming is definitely my least favorite part. So I didn't have to trim any meat off, didn't have to worry about shaping or anything. Just gonna let it cook and don't have to worry about trimming any of the fat off. Throughout the cook process, I don't have to really do anything. I will not touch these ribs until I take them off of the cooker. I might spritz them a little bit towards the end just because I'm not gonna be wrapping these at all. Unlike brisket, I'm not gonna be wrapping in butcher paper or like ribs. I'm not gonna be wrapping them with foil. Just relatively simplistic here. I'm just gonna keep them in the smoker, let them gather all that smoke the entire time, and it should be about 8 hours. The only real difference of anything that I've done in the past is that I used the slather this time. And another interesting thing that we'll talk about later, if you stick around, is how we rest these beef ribs. It's a lot different than brisket and it's a lot different than ribs. So you'll see what I'm trying out later. I already cannot wait to try these. Just looking at the slather and the rub on there, it's only 3 a.m. I've got my coffee here, but I'm already hungry. Hey, so I wanted to show you guys a quick little tip about what happens if your smoker gets a little too hot and your temperatures start flaring up. My temperatures are reaching around 300 and I want to be at 250. And so I was watching the temperature rise and I'm like, okay, is it going to go up or down? Kept going up. And so what I did is I closed the damper about halfway or so, never close it all the way. Close it about halfway to 2/3 of the way. And then I completely opened the firebox door. And what that does is create back pressure. And while there's still gonna be air sucking through the smoker, the fact that the damper is mainly closed for the most part, but then the firebox door is open, is gonna push all that air and the heat back out. And it works surprisingly well. It really lowers the temperature and you'll see the smoke push out of the firebox, and it's just gonna decrease the draft and decrease the amount of heat that is going through there. And once you get it back down, then you can open it up a little bit and then kind of go back to your main flow of air that you like doing on your smoker. Let me know if you guys have any other tips about how to lower the temperature if your temperatures get too high. I'm sure there's more ways than one. So yeah, just let me know. So it's been about 3 hours and I wanted to come and check and see how they're turning out. Very interesting bone pool right here. Again, I've never cooked these before, so I don't really know what to expect or how this is gonna work out. Very interesting to see how these are turning. I might move them around just so that they get a little bit even cooking, because I know that you can tell this area right here is a hot area. So very interesting, getting some good bark formation. We know it's only going to get better though. We're 6.5 hours in on the first one, and then about a little under 6 hours on the back one there, and these are looking amazing. So good. All right, so we are approaching 8 hours and we're just about to take off the first rack of beef ribs and gonna let them rest for an hour. And so what I'm gonna do for these beef ribs is I'm gonna let them rest, cool down to about 145 temperature. And then I'm going to wrap it in butcher paper and I'm gonna coat it with the Wagyu beef tallow that you've seen me use many times. But the difference between how we've been doing this with the beef ribs and how we would do this something like with the brisket is that we would cook the brisket in the butcher paper with the beef tallow, This time I cooked the beef ribs completely uncovered the entire time for 8 hours, and then I'm gonna rest them in the beef tallow. I think this will help with the bark, because it does look pretty crunchy. It's super barky, and so that tallow will kind of let it reduce a little bit and get more soft and not as hard and crunchy, and hopefully we'll end up with a really great bark that is both crunchy but also juicy at the same time. The cook this morning, it went pretty well, pretty easy. Didn't really have to do much. Just constantly having to feed this cooker with the wood splits that I'm using. This Lava Lock smokestack extension that I put on there really sucks that air in, and it just devours wood. And it's a good thing. It means that we got good draft and that we're keeping steady temperatures. So I'm still proud of how that is working. If you want to see when I first got it, then you can check that video out. And we're about to check the beef ribs and see what temperature they're at and maybe take them off. All right, let's check and see what temps we got on these beautiful beef ribs so far. Gonna check the back one, which is what I put on first. Oh man, the smoke in my eyes is brutal. 198 right there. Let's go right here. Literally crunching pieces off. 196. We're probing pretty nice, guys. Probing like butter. Let's see what this one is. Oh, that was really smooth. 189. But I think I'm probably going to take off the back one. So we're gonna get our tallow on here and then we're gonna wrap it up. I think one paper should be enough. Guess we'll find out, right? All right, time to get the beef rib off of the smoker. Oh yeah. Look at that. Man, this thing's like about to fall off. There is some crunchiness. I kind of view this as a test run for the other one I'm doing for the picnic competition. All right, time to rest this for an hour. All right, y'all, so the beef rib has been resting for about 50 minutes and just letting it reduce in temperature to about 150 or so. Whenever I unwrap it, then it'll reduce even quicker. So it's about time for me to try from what I think is my first ever beef rib. Wonder how this changed from the way it looked 30 minutes ago. Oh yes. Oh man, it's like the bone's already fallen off. Let's get some of the juices in there. Oh yeah. Now that looks good. Let's eat it. All right, let's cut into it. This one curled so much. This is so weird. Oh my gosh. This is the best barbecue I've ever made, just by the looks of it. I mean, it looks pristine. All the fat is rendered beautifully. I mean, the meat on there looks just incredible. I am blown away. So I'm just gonna take a big chomp into this thing. You know the rules, Grubbs grubbing, baby, let's go. Oh. That is delicious. Oh, that is so good. Very crunchy bark, smoke flavor is insane. That is so good. I think heavy on the spices, I might if I'm just thinking about next time, I'd probably go less on the spices. And the bark is super crunchy. Got loud helicopters going around. I think next time, I would probably wrap it maybe halfway through, or maybe an hour or two left, so it doesn't get as crunchy. But this is still, it's amazing. All right, I'm gonna bring in another taste tester. My dad, Stu. Come on in, Stu Manchu. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Do you want to take a bite out of one, or want me to cut you off some?
No, just cut off.
Okay. Yeah. Sweating.
Oh my.
Grubbs grubbing.
Oh man.
Get more.
That is amazing. Great job. That's awesome.
Thank
Great
you.
smoke flavor, good bark.
Yeah.
I'm not a big bark fan.
Oh, you've had beef ribs before.
Mm-hmm.
How does this compare? My first ever try.
It's the same. Same as I could get from someone else, from a regular place. It's fantastic.
Sweet. All right, well, this has been my first ever beef rib on the smoker, and it will definitely not be the last because this thing is amazing. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and if you want to see more Grubbs BBQ content, then go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh.